Hey YouTube, I have all of the journals finished except for measuring them for clearance except for this last one. This is the number 7. I had jumped around a little bit, which really doesn't matter. Now this is the first time I've taken this apart since I took it out of the engine. So what I just wanted to show you is, I don't know if you can see some of the marks on there. You can see there's sort of a scratch on this one here that goes all the way around. The amazing thing is it doesn't go through this. One of the things that I wanted to mention about bearings is you can notice that there's a motor oil behind that. I don't know if you can see that, but one thing I wanted to mention about bearings is that bearings are made to a degree to be able to absorb. That's for the bottom, and this one's for the top. They're made to absorb some particles, okay? Also, when you want to take the rings off, all you gotta do is pull the ring and turn it like that, and it comes right off. You can actually put them on that way too, although I would recommend a ring expander to put them on, so that in case sometimes they're made out of cast iron. If you pull on them as hard as I'm pulling on these, they'll liable to break. So anyway, what I was saying is some of the bearing material, and I don't know if these are or not, but some bearings are specifically made to be able to absorb small particles. In other words, a particle comes through the oil, gets stuck between the bearing and the crankshaft journal, and what happens is it impregnates itself. The material will impregnate itself into the bearing itself, and it'll actually embed itself in such a way that it's not riding around the journal causing trouble for the crankshaft. I just want to clean these off so I can get this put into the motor. You can see how good this stuff works. Well, again, you can't get it on the piston. That's the problem with it. So what you want to do is you want to clean this journal. You want it dry. You don't want any moisture in there at all, because if you have moisture in there, the moisture or the water or the liquid or whatever kind of fluid it is, it's going to take up space, and that space will give you a false reading when you use the Plastigage. Okay, so I'm only concerned about getting this end done. And you want to clean the tops off here too, to make sure there's nothing there holding anything apart. Technically, when you put bearings together, you can see this one has oil on it. I want to get that oil off. When you put bearings together, technically there's what they call a crush fit. And what that means is the bearing, here's the tang, the bearing is sticking up above the end of the cap here on each side. The bearing sticks up very slightly so that it helps to hold the bearing in place when the cap and stuff is all tightened up to whatever specifications they ask for. It's amazing this stuff eats this up so well. Don't do nothing to the toothbrush. Now, when we marked this, or when I marked these, I had told you I use an engraver, and I do. I put the Now this is just stained there. It's really microscopic staining, basically. It's big, but it's not in the way of anything. You can see where I put the number 7 on there. Now it's also good. One thing about these bearing caps is that they fit on in such a way that the tang is there on this one, and the bottom one, let me wipe the back of this off, the bottom one gets the tang put on adjacent to that. So in other words, this goes like that, and that's what holds the bearing in place, just so that it won't rotate. These little tangs or tabs that stick out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this camera set up here. I'm going to take a reading on number 7. Let's turn this around a little bit and see if I can't get the camera closer. Yeah. So that would be the number 7 journal we're working on there. Just excuse my camera here for a little bit. You can see on the left side there, that one's already been done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of Plastigage. I'm going to tear this off. Sorry about my air compressor just went on. I'm going to open this up. It's hard to do with the glove. And I'm going to put the Plastigage across the journal. Now this is the number 7 one I'm doing. That's 8. You can see that one's done already. So I'm going to do this number 7. So you put that on there. You take the piston that has the notch on it. The notch is, boy, that's really dirty. The notch is that direction. So that's the front of the motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take and put this up through. Oops, I forgot my rubber hoses. Hold on a second. I'm going to put these rubber hoses on the end of the rods so that you don't scratch the crankshaft. So I'm going to come up through the bottom there. And I'm going to bring this piston up through. You can see that the bearing is still in there, and I'm going to bring that bearing against that. I'm going to hold that up there. While I'm holding that, the tang is on this side. I'm holding that up. I'm going to take the hoses off. You can see the Plastigage is still there. And I'm going to put this on here. And then I'm going to put the nuts on. Tighten these up according to the specs. So I'll use a torque wrench. I like the bar type. I have a bunch of torque wrenches, but my favorite is this bar type. I just trust these more than I do the other type. Now, a lot of guys will say no to that, but when you've done a lot of calculating of the stretching of metal, you'll find out that this is one of the most simplest things that to me works just as well, and I'm going just snugging each side as the clicker type. So I usually do these up to around 60 pounds. I do them like 10 pounds at a piece, just a little bit on each one so that it's even. 60 there. And that's 60 there. So I just wait a second or two. Not really necessary probably, but then what I'll do is loosen them up, sort of together. You don't want to just loosen one side all the way. You're better off doing it a little bit at a time. Hold up on the rod because there's really no friction in there. Usually the piston rings would hold you in there, but the rings are off. You saw me take them off, so there's not much friction left there. Take the cap off. Oh, in this instance, the bearing stayed in there, which is good. Now I'll bring the piston back out. Well, before I do that, let me put my hoses on here. I usually put the hoses on it. Don't think I don't. It's a matter of I'm trying to talk here and do this at the same time, and I don't want to forget anything. So that worked good. And you can see that the Plastigage